Hi, Christian Chudo here, academyofphotography.com. Today I would like to propose an experiment is to play with remote flash during daytime. What we have here is obviously a camera. I'm going to shoot from a distance, so I want to use the telephoto lens. In this case, I'm going to use 70-200 lens, 2.8. We have the dummy on a stand. Just this is full daylight, so plenty of light, and we do have a stand with the normal flash. This is the wireless trigger which sits on the camera, and this will talk with the wireless receiver which will trigger the flash. I'm gonna show you this equipment in detail. This is a very cheap piece of equipment, 20 bucks on eBay. You can go the distance and spend a lot of money on a professional one, but for this exercise I'm happy with what we have. It's not gonna make a big difference now. So what I want to do today is to show you how the flash will act remotely in full daylight. I'm gonna switch positions of the flash and I'm gonna play with a bit of with the settings. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set my camera on time because we have plenty of light. I'm gonna select a shutter speed of 200, ISO 100. Always in daylight when there's plenty of light I go for ISO 100, and I'm gonna let the camera choose the aperture setting and we'll play. I'm gonna take a test shot to see what we're gonna get. So again, telephoto lens, 70-200, wireless trigger, wireless receiver, flash on full power. The image is, the subject is probably a little bit overexposed and the background is fine. The reason for that is the camera does not know where the flash is and how flash is the trigger. The camera took a normal reading on the subject and the flash is on full power, overpowered the normal light. What I'm gonna do to get it properly exposed, obviously I'm gonna have to decrease the exposure. In this case, if I am selecting a faster shutter speed, let's see what we get. I'm gonna go for a 500 just to prove a point. Okay, shutter speed 500. Camera tells me it's gonna be underexposed. Still get the same result. Again, the reason for that is camera does not understand where the flash is. The only one thing I can do to actually control the situation is switch on full manual. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use shutter speed 200, aperture 5.6 and ISO 100. I'm gonna play again only with the aperture until I get what I want. What I want is actually have the dummy head properly exposed. Triggered again, okay. I can see better the subject. The subject is getting a little bit better, but the background is getting darker, and this is exactly where I wanted to get. So I am going to continue and I'm going to decrease the aperture setting, increase the number, decrease the aperture. So shutter speed 200, aperture 7.1, ISO 100. Is starting to get where we want. Still too much light on the dummy head, so going further, just jumping to aperture 11. We are going to get to a properly exposed subject. The background is getting darker. Why? Because in a normal situation, if I take this off, if I take the flash off, camera will underexpose the whole image. But because I have the flash lights the subject. This is one of the techniques when you actually separate your subject from the rest of the environment and you can control the light. And also it's called low-key photography. You make the background completely dark. What I'm gonna do, decrease the aperture even further to see where we get. Okay, shutter speed 200, aperture 16, ISO 100. Okay, we have now an underexposed image and a completely dark background. Why we have that is because obviously we have plenty of light on the subject. We underexpose the whole image. What I might do in order to make this better, I still want to have the complete dark background. I am trying to get the flash closer. Same settings as before. Okay, this is a very nice photo and we do not see anything of the background. This is a low-key photography. We can use this technique to actually focus on the subject and completely ignore the daylight. What this tells us is that that flash has a lot of power that overpowers the daylight many times. This is how this is made possible. Basically, I would suggest you try the same and see exactly how you can separate the subject from the background by simply using a remote flash and by playing with the camera settings, obviously trying to underexpose the image so the subject is in the proper exposure. The camera does not understand where the flash is, how powerful it is, and how the flash is going to go on the subject. I am going to continue this experiment with moving the light behind the subject, and I'm going to take few shots again. I'm gonna keep the settings: shutter speed 200, aperture 16 and 100. In this case, because we just moved it back, probably we're gonna have a dark picture. Okay, we can't see much. I just see only a little bit of the contour. In this case, I am going to increase the aperture size, so decrease the number. Shutter speed 200, aperture 6.3 or 5.6. Let's see what we get. Okay, now we're starting to pick up the natural light and with a lot of light from behind. I'm going to increase the aperture even more to see what we get. So shutter speed 200, ISO 100, aperture 3.5. Now we do have a lot of light from behind, and I want to see where this takes us. So I'm gonna go for a maximum aperture 2.8 to see what we get. Okay, probably we're gonna go over the top, but just for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to go for a shutter speed 100 and maximum aperture 2.8. It's gonna get a lot of backlight and overexposed. Okay, I hope this proves how we can play with the settings in manual mode and how we can play with flashes, remote flashes. Now you can use one flash, two flashes. You can buy these remote flashes with one trigger and several receivers. You can have flashes put on different settings in different positions, and you're gonna get very interesting effects. As a professional photographer, I'm using these settings most of the time. I'm going for a location photo shoot outside, so I can control a little bit of the light. And as you could see, I am detaching myself from the background. Full light again, and yeah, this is about it. So the equipment I have used in this exercise was a Canon 5D Mark II, the 70-200 lens. And what I wanted to show you is actually the wireless trigger. It's a basically no brand name because it is very cheap. I do have also the professional Pocket Wizard ones, but because this is just for beginners, I would suggest you give it a try with this. This is the wireless trigger. I'm gonna show you the stand here, a normal simple stand with an adapter, again on eBay, wireless receiver. The wireless trigger and receiver come in a pack, one trigger and 4 or 5 receivers for different flashes. This is just a normal flash, and obviously the dummy head, you're gonna get used to it because I'm gonna use it a lot. This is low-key photography. I would suggest you go and purchase one of these little remotes and play with it, because I can tell you it's a nice toy and you can use it in many situations when you want to shoot outside from a distance. I have used it in weddings, I have used it in location fashion photo shoots. In weddings it proved to be a little bit unpractical because of the speed of everything that happens during the day. Having this setup, it's becoming a little bit too much. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Until I see you next time, I wish you happy shooting.